What's up, everybody? Today I'm doing a video on free shit, everybody's favorite type of shit. I'm doing free plugins. I'm not really going to go over any that are actual synths. These are all more going to be effects plugins. If you want a video on some free synths I use, I basically use the free synths that everyone else uses. So I don't feel like it's worth making a video. Like everyone that can't afford Serum uses Vital, you know. But I'm just going to go over some effects that I really like that are free. And if you watch the distortion video, which I did before this one, you'll recognize Ruina is chilling right here. And I'll just go over him really briefly, not go over through the settings and everything. You can see that over on the distortion video. But I just 5 minutes ago, I made this loop that we can just test our stuff on. Let's see it. And no, this is literally just Ableton samples. That's all this is. So first up on the chopping block is we have the KHS or kilohertz pack of plugins. And I'm not going to go over the whole thing, but if you go to their website, which will be somewhere on the screen maybe if I feel like editing it, they are a huge collection of plugins. As you can see, it's all of these. And some of them, there's really no point in using because Ableton or whatever DAW you're using probably has perfectly fine for like built-in version of it. But there's some of their stuff that I really like. So first, we have the tape stop effect, which I think is really fun. Let me put it on here. And basically... Fantastic. Really fun for getting kind of like I don't know, like an SP404 type feel on stuff, because I know whenever I use my 404, I like to add the tape stop at the end for fun. But that's the tape stop. It's super fun. It's definitely a plugin you want to kind of screw around with, like the automation, and you can kind of pick like when it hits and stuff like that. It's really cool. It's also good for like resampling stuff. If you want to add like tape starts and stops like into a sample, you can resample using that, and that's really fun. Next is KHS's nonlinear filter. It's just a good filter. That one's cool. I forgot to add, they have another filter which I actually like better than that one. Which one is it? I believe it is the ladder filter. Yes. This thing just has a great sound to it. Like, I just think, like, I don't know if you can tell the difference, but I feel like I can. It just has such a great curve to it. Really great filter plugin. Next up, last thing from KHS, I believe, is the ensemble, which I love. It's like a weird chorus thing, but if you go to like the presets, I think my favorite one is, I think it's Fifth Dimension. I believe that's it. Like, hell, I might use that. I actually kind of like this little loop I put together in 5 minutes. Because I honestly forgot that Ableton even has samples, but then I realized in Suite there's 27,184 samples, which I ain't got time for that. But yeah, that's the chorus or the ensemble. I think it's so much fun. It's so much fun to use. On the subject of chorusing, another free chorus effect is the Tal chorus. This is an emulation of the very famous and awesome Juno chorus, and so it functions the same way with like the 1 and 2. So this is what this sounds like. And yeah, it's very, very simple, which I really almost like a lot about lots of free plugins is they don't feel that they need to add a bunch of stuff to it. And so it keeps the interface really simple. Next up is Codec. Great. I think this is free. Oh my God, I'm going to have to check. But Codec is awesome. It is a bit reduction, kind of destroying thing, but it sounds great. Let me just run it through some settings here. Awesome. It's such a fun plugin. I think it adds a lot more useful options within it. Like if I open back up here, such as the loss. The loss is probably my favorite part, where you get the chops and stuff, and then the bandwidth, and then the crunch. That stuff is just not available in like Ableton's Redo plugin, or Redux, however you say it. And so I really like that added versatility. And I pretty much, if I'm gonna bit crush it, I just use that instead of using Ableton's. So that is the Fantastic Codec. And I believe finally is the, oh no, I have a couple more. But this one I use the shit out of. Shameless plug, my album comes out on April 7th. And when you listen to it, if you listen to it, especially in the back end of the album, you will hear this plugin so much. It's just so good for atmosphere, for build-ups, for fade-outs, for literally anything. But it's essentially just a sequenced gate. And so let's listen to this now. This is going to sound very different. So it's pretty simple in how it works, but this one actually has a bunch of features within it that are really, really cool. So first off, you can save your presets down here, and then if you're listening in headphones, you would have noticed, but this is left channel and this is right channel, so you can actually have like its stereo version of it. You can also throw it in mono, which is fun, and you can just draw, and then you like click these things to like change like the amount of stutters. So now. And so it's so much fun and you can change the shuffle of this, so you can have like a swung pattern. You got your dry wet, but then another great thing about it is that it has presets built in, which are all sound great, really fun. Because sometimes it gets a little too crazy. And you just want something like this, which is almost using it as like a fancy panner, but has a bunch of cool stuff like that. And then it has this infinite button, which let me just show you. So if I just click it and then let it go, it'll just keep changing forever. So if you're like me and you make weird music, you can just let that guy run forever. And these are buttons up here. They do something. Download the plugin to find out, because I haven't got to using them yet. This also does something. You have to look it up. But a bunch of great things. It's basically just like a fade and how thick it is. Presets, if you want to lock something or not. How many steps there are, the subdivisions. But it's so powerful and so much fun. And let me real quick just show you the other plugins that are kind of with that plugin, because there's some incredible ones. There's Filter Step 64, which, you guessed it, same exact thing, except you're working with a filter. And finally, the last one in that set is Pan Flow. And also the UIs on these are just great, which does what you think. So it's just like the world's best auto panner, basically. And all of them have that awesome infinite function. And pretty much once you learn one of them, you know how all of them work. And they are all fantastic. Let's see, back to the free section. So a couple more things. M Auto Pitch. I don't know what the hell this is going to do to non-vocals, but this is my go-to auto-tune plugin. It is fantastic. It does not sound like, it's not a Melodyne. It's not anything like that, but if you want Travis Scott, you can get it, if that's what you're into. Like, we'll see what this does. Okay, it's not going to do anything to this, but if I go down here and put on M Auto Pitch, depth, speed. Put me in C major. And then record here. And I go like this. Oh, and you can probably hear my actual voice too. But that's what the auto-tune sounds like. It's badass. And it's got form and shift and, you know, dry wet knob, what the bass frequency is, how much you want to detune it. And you can, of course, change the key, which is really fun. That's that. And I'm so excited to listen back to that because that's going to be so silly. And finally, I keep saying finally because, as I've mentioned before, I'm terrible at planning out videos, is Paul X Stretch, which is a very unique plugin. I would really recommend you kind of look at this plugin yourself, and I would also recommend, unless you're using like Pro Tools or Cubase or something, to kind of use it more standalone and then print whatever it makes out into Ableton. Ableton does not do a good job of like doing like the printing audio into the timeline like Pro Tools can do with plugins. But basically what this is like the world's craziest stretcher. So I'm just going to take this synth lead and put it in here. Okay, it's not going to let me do that. Let me grab a track. Okay, so now I got this track in here. And so if I turn this off, it's just some like silly electronic track I'm in. But now we have the stretch. And check this out. And you're saying that doesn't sound that good, but okay, you want a soundscape? This will get you a 35-minute soundscape. It's such an incredible plugin. I also use this all over the album. Yeah, this is a ratio mixer, so if you're familiar with the harmonic series, this will make sense to you. If not, look it up. But this basically is like a harmonic series mixer, so you can bring out different harmonics, and you can also adjust what those harmonics would be too. So you get some really cool sounds. You have a free filter, which is just, you know, you can do whatever you want with it. Change the bands, you know, the rate, how much it's doing things, what's going on, the waveform. And then you also have all these sections up here. You can add more harmonics, add noise, frequency shift, filter, all sorts of other stuff. And you can also, this is like really free, so you can arrange how it goes through all the processing, in what way. And this is all, I believe, like Fourier transform based. So it sounds really good. It does a really good job at stretching it. Nothing gets glitchy really ever. And it also keeps the pitch, which is very important, at least to me. But totally, if you're into like chill ambient beats, and you're trying to get samples, this is literally like a chill ambient beat sample generator. Like just literally go onto Ableton, play anything on like the stock piano, put a reverb on it, throw it in here, and it's fantastic. It always sounds good. But yeah, those are the 5 free plugins or however many that I think are cool. If you know of any others that I didn't talk about, that's like an effect that's free, please let me know in the comments, because I love free stuff probably more than you do, actually. I think free plugins are so cool, and there's definitely some that I'm aware of that I didn't go over because I just haven't gotten them yet. But yeah, if you know of any, just leave them in the comments. Links to these will maybe be in the description if I feel like adding them. If not, literally just look up the name on Google. You can do it. I believe in you. All right. Peace out. That's this video.